People gravitate to anime for all sorts of reasons, but at the end of the day, we just want to be entertained. And what better way than with the big hearty from the belly guffaw? This category is dedicated to the shows that tickle our fancies literally. Here are your nominees for Best Comedy of 2024.
Oh, シャークカマキリからの平凡な少女の前に現れ変身。
カズマが死ぬ。なんだこれは。
下は普通に石なんですけど。
未来予知能力を持つ。
いい加減にするっちゃ。
こいつ
どちゃっこなんだが、ひかりちゃんのママ、あなたの配信見て
And your jury winner is "'Tis Time for Torture, Princess." And your public winner is Konosuba Season 3.
Joe, do you have a favorite Konosuba character?
Your favorite Konosuba character? I like Megumi.
Oh,
I like Megumi a lot.
Megumin is pretty great. I like her a lot. I mean, for someone who's basically just like a one-trick pony, I think in comedy, one-trick ponies, like as long as you're able to adapt and kind of switch up their one trick, it works really well. And I mean, Konosuba is like it's like a whole bunch of stereotypes, but somehow they keep it fresh every season, right?
I think the dynamic is super funny considering she's stacked all of her points into an explosion spell that has such a massive cooldown. Especially considering that like min-maxing is such a classic element of video games, and here the reality just hits it as a punchline so consistently.
I want to add like I don't really agree. Well, in recent seasons maybe because of the focus that Konosuba has with each arc being specific to a girl. But I think when it was starting, I really appreciated the Megumin's chemistry with, well, especially Kazuma, where she always behaved like they were best buddies when they were going to explode stuff. But I also like the general shtick of her being like this incredibly smug and capable wizard that is just a huge loser, essentially. Like, it always makes for good punchlines where you could say everything blows up in her face.
Ah, ah, ah. Now,
But yeah, I really appreciate that. So
the thing is, Konosuba Season 3 is kind of more focused on darkness as a character, is it not?
yeah, then she's not usually a popular choice, including within our jury. But like, we were initially a bit cynical of Konosuba because it was like, oh, it's good, but like it's not season 2 and season 1 that we thought were better. But compared to the rest of the shows that we had, it was still a pretty strong entry.
Now, what makes Torture Princess kind of stand out amongst the crowd here? I mean, the name in and of itself is already sort of ridiculous, right? Like, what I don't know if I want to watch a show about torture. It's in the comedy. Can you exactly explain what the premise of the show is?
So it's a fantasy skit comedy about a princess that get captured by the demon kingdom, and the whole shtick is that she gets quote unquote torture to get extract information, but these tortures are just like silliest things possible. Like, it's not violent or anything. They will say like, "Oh, we will we will eat this delicious food and make you watch, and oh, we are going to play video games today, and if you lose you have to give us information and stuff like that. Initially it sounds like something that would get old, like they just keep coming with new torture things and she just confesses, but it always found a way to stay fresh all the way through, introducing new characters. And as it went on, it really started to kind of abandon the whole torture thing. Like initially, it was everything within her cell, a prison cell, but then they just started taking her to sports events and stuff around their city, and it just makes for a fun time. Like it's essentially her friend, but she's like quote unquote forced to hang with them.
Well, so like, are they doing this out of the goodness of their hearts, or they like why are they pretending to torture her, or do they think this is actually torture?
Yeah, they think it is torture, and like
Oh,
they are
okay,
like
okay.
they even have these girls that are like quote unquote torturers in training, and they are like the main friends of hers. Like it's not real torture. It's just like we are going to have fun, and we are going to find a way to make you confess, and she always does.
I mean, I think a big thing about comedy is the existence of irony, right? And I think that's what makes a lot of situations give it that extra hilarity and punch. So I quite like the idea of someone thinking torture is torture when it's not actually torture. There's like several layers of this. Like they think it's torture when it's not torture, but she thinks that she is being tortured, so she gets the fear of. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, it's just a very silly and her lighthearted world. Everything is fun, fluff, and there are many charms to its world. Like it is a modern world despite being like a fantasy show. It also has these quirks like her sword being she has a speaking sword and it gets tired of her always confessing. Or it is revealed that she can remove her own shackles all along, but she just does it to keep up with the bit. Like it always adds these little gags that always make you smile and keeps up the enjoyment of it.
Now, Joe, I had something I actually really wanted to talk to you about in this segment, particularly. Do you have a favorite VTuber?
Oh my god.
Favorite VTuber?
Yeah. Do you
Ooh,
watch VTubers at all?
not really.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, not really.
The reason I wanted to bring it up is because the second place in the jury here is this show called Vtuber Legend. And first of all, I'm kind of surprised that it ranks so highly because when I was watching the show, it's about this VTuber. The premise is that she is doing a stream one day. She has a very like prim and proper personality, and then one day she accidentally leaves the stream running, and she lets loose with some strong zero, with some really uh, alcoholic drinks, and it's revealed that she has this like kind of secret, more body personality behind the scenes, right? And she goes viral and et cetera, et cetera. But what made me kind of interested in it is that after that initial premise, it kind of just becomes her doing the VTuber thing. Like you're basically watching a show about a VTuber just VTubing. And I'm wondering what you think about this kind of line between what is essentially like a simulacrum of a VTubing experience in show form. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think there's something kind of really interesting about that, especially if it's in anime form, because it kind of Stevie Swad actually came out with a really interesting article about the idea of embodied versus character acting, and the idea of an embodied actor is somebody who tries to, with regards to some true great verisimilitude of something, and then there's character acting, right? Character acting being the you act in regards to a set of conventions, a set of genre conventions. And anime is actually really fascinating because anime, by its core form, very focused on character acting. Because like the whole conceit is that anime characters don't actually act like Japanese people; they act like a specific rendered form of Japanese popular culture. And the funny thing here is that like VTubing is the exact same thing. The
Hmm.
To act as a VTuber is not to act as like some real great person out there who is actually like this, but to act as a facsimile of all of these things And so there's a sort of double layering. I think that you use the term simulacrum. I think that's a good way to describe that. There's a double layering of both of these elements with regards to each other. Whether it lenses it or not, I'm not entirely sure because I haven't seen it and I'm not a big like VTuber person. But I mean, it got second place in the jury, so I'm pretty sure it's doing something really interesting with it.
How could you not have a favorite Okay, from now on, your favorite VTuber, if anyone asks, is Sakura Miko. That's your
Oh,
Oshi.
okay, that's
You've been assigned
there's
one.
there's only one VTuber that I kind of know, and it's also named Sakura. It's like Sakura UK, and then they are like a fighting game VTuber.
Ooh.
But I don't know what they're doing nowadays. So that's the only VTuber I know.
Collapse. Can you illuminate a little bit of VTuber Legend for us?
Yeah, so you already explained the plot. Like the show is more like it doesn't really tell a story. It's more like just a celebration of the VTuber culture, and it's interesting because a lot of the jury was not really VTuber fans. I personally think VTubers are not very healthy for our society.
In parasocial
And,
elements and all that. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, not that serious. I'm mostly memeing, but I'm just not a VTuber guy. We really like the way it just indulges on its culture and the memes and the whole thing. Like there were a lot of things that we didn't get. Like we are adjacent enough to understand them, and we also vibe a lot with. It's really how to say it. Well, yeah, indulgent, raunchy at the time, loud humor.
Yeah, you mentioned that. It's indulgent. That's really interesting because like we've had so much anime in the early 90s up until the mid 2000s about like being in a way like indulgent otaku media. Would you say that like VTuber Legend is this sort of transitional piece that's being indulgent in this new sort of media sphere that's attached to like anime?
Yeah, I would say so. It really felt like a passion project of sorts, especially with the ending, where we see a VTuber graduate, and it also has a short montage of actual IRL VTubers, some of them which I know, and it's like, oh, this really is about like it just knows who the audience is, and I'm happy it is made by people that really care about that. I prefer this type of portrayal over the more cynical parodies that we get in things like fantasy shows where they're always self-aware and like make fun of their own tropes. But here's like, no, we will do this and you will like it because we know you like it.
Just have the stuff you like.
Yeah, just go do the things that the masses like.
But I think that's close to all the time we have. I want to thank y'all for speaking with me. It's been a fun time. It's been very comedic. So thank you, Joe.
Big is true.
And one last final thing, I just want to say we have been blessed and ever so happy to receive an acknowledgement from the team from Konosuba Season 3. So here's a little message from the production team at Drive Company Limited.
Pretty big.
From the production team at Drive Company Limited for Konosuba Season 3. Thank you for awarding us the Our Anime Comedy Award for Konosuba 3. It is a huge honor that fans all over the world have enjoyed the show and to be praised for it in this way. Our team worked diligently on the finest details of the production to properly bring out the charm of the characters, the tempo of the story, and the unique humor. Seeing how our hard work has been received by everyone watching is the greatest source of motivation. We would like to use this opportunity to thank all of you who supported the show. We will continue to earnestly work on our productions. Once again, thank you deeply for this honor. I think I can speak for all of us here at the Our Anime Awards that the feeling is mutual and we would love to see what you create in the future. Thank you very much for watching 'Tis Time for Torture, Princess. On behalf of the staff, I would like to thank you. Throughout the production, we continue to ask ourselves how we should best convey in anime form the wonderful characters, worldview, and everyday joy present in original creators Haruhara Sensei and Hirake Sensei's work. Therefore, nothing makes us happier than hearing that you enjoyed it. Thank you. Yoko Kanamori, Director for 'Tis Time for Torture, Princess.